Well, give me a second here.
And we are live. And Ro is not in frame, and Mike needs a second. So it's a typical Bald&Balding opening, everyone. Um, we are here today. Mike, where are you calling from?
Where am I calling from?
Yes.
Southern West Virginia. Um, Sort of the Lewisburg Greenbrier Valley area. So
Every
tucked
time I
away in the
drive,
mountains.
every time I drive through, I always see Lewisburg voted the coolest small town in the U.S. sign.
Yeah, yeah. I see that every time I have to go into town and do some shopping and go, oh, jeez. I would like to see I'd like to see the metrics on that poll. No, it's not bad. It's not a bad town. It's just, it just sort of makes me chuckle in a way.
So Sebastian is in the house. Uh, welcome, sir. So how long have you been writing?
I started writing. Uh, I think I officially started writing around 2016, so it's been about 10 years. That's when I started my first novel after about 13 years worth of cogitating on the whole thing. It started basic. I started writing because I'd been running games off and on, mostly on for a good long chunk since 1980. I was a old school red box D&D gamer, basic, and so
First
over the
edition
years,
rule, baby.
yeah, the first book I ever got was the out of the box red pamphlet for Dungeons and Dragons, and then I got my blue box set, and it was off to the races at that point. I think over since then I have either played or run somewhere close to 175 different systems in that time. So yeah, I've tried a lot. I can
So
I can I can say it's quite the training ground for a writer. Um,
when the second edition rules came out, did you embrace them or did you ignore them?
they were ignored for the longest time because basically until you couldn't really find groups that even used first edition anymore of
Yeah.
AD&D, I stuck with the original until nobody else played with it anymore. And then, well, I upgraded to second edition, but I never touched third. And I only touched fourth edition once, and I was not happy about it. Now, unfortunately, I just was in a group that finished a 6-year campaign in fifth ed because he was experimenting and wanted to see how it'd go. And he was a Pathfinder GM that was just slumming it.
No, I haven't played since the late 80s,
Mhm.
and I hear people talk about it now, and it seems like there's way too much math involved with D&D these days.
I don't know anymore because I kind of have hit the point of glossing stuff over. I would probably play older, crunchier systems that I'm familiar with, though.
Yeah.
I have tried. Um, Come on, brain. Where'd you go for a moment? Oh, Ice. Iron Crown Enterprises. Roll Master, and I tried their update, which I flat out cannot remember the name of it. As you can see, I have a stack of gaming books right here, but these are all GURPS. GURPS is a lovely system, except it's 3D6. That's my major complaint. I hate 3D6 for its granularity. If it was
Hold on one sec.
3D10,
Hold
perfect.
on. Mike,
Yeah.
Yes.
did you understand a word of that?
Yes.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Mhm.
You lost me there entirely.
Sorry,
I don't
sorry.
know what a person is.
I
So
can.
I bought GURPS for like spaceships before I wrote Haley. I was like, I should know something about spaceships. What should I have? I don't know. Isn't there a D&D game for space where I can, get all the things I need to know? And
Mhm.
it wasn't all that helpful, but I bought them.
I've actually developed a for one of my book series, my sci-fi pulp or my pulp punk as I like to call it series, Tales from the Dream Nebula. I've actually developed a GURPS engine for that setting. and I ran it at a couple of cons over the last couple of years. It's been a lot of fun. The problem is I can't get the story short enough to fit in a con.
Is GURP an acronym for something?
Yeah, it stands for a generic universal role-playing system.
Oh, okay. No.
Steve Jackson Games, highly recommend it for beginning players because it is absolutely 100% customizable. It's fairly simple to learn, and generally speaking, it's a fun time. But for me, coming up on the old crunchy systems, like for instance, Twilight 2000, that one was one of my favorites, where you had to do a worksheet before you could do your character. I never liked Rollmaster though. I tried, but Master of the Spreadsheet just it kind of killed me. Palladium was one of my favorites too, especially doing Ninjas and Super Spies and Rifts. Those and their superhero system. I don't care about any of the other superhero games in the market right now. Palladium Heroes Unlimited is by far the best because it is got just enough crunch. It has a heck of a lot of flexibility, and you can mold into it all the rest of the Palladium products that you want. You want Robotech? They had the license. There you go. Have a lot of fun. TMNT? There you go. Roll it on in. It's a lot of fun. Or you can go and drop yourself into Rift's Earth and just freak out dealing with the Coalition or the Splugorth, as they're called, the big bug-eyed nasties out of Atlantis. I mean, there's the options are just as good as GURPS in a lot of ways, but they have their books are sometimes fleshed out better. But this is 1980s and 1990s gaming for you. I am a veritable font of silliness in that regard.
And that leads us very nicely into this first 7-minute segment of Bald&Balding is brought to you by Centrum 50 Silver.
Hooray! I'm no longer old and decrepit.
So before we get into your books, there's just so much going on behind you. I have to ask. First of all, you got that little red Cylon light thing going over there to your right.
That's my PC. Okay,
all right. And do you actually play that piano, or is that just for picking up chicks?
Well, I picked up my chick. I'm good on that department. If you're referring to the chickens, they're out in the back. The chickens are out in the coop right now. They're hunkered down because we got surprise 5 inches of snow. And although they sit there go, "Hey, Dad, let us out." No, you're not going into the yard when there's nothing there. It's all iced over right now.
Where you were.
Southern West Virginia.
Yeah, okay. Greenbrier County. That's as close as I'll narrow it down.
So do you play that thing?
I used to be able to. Unfortunately, I am not a very good performance player. So instead, what I do is I discovered that we have been given DAWs, digital audio workstation. So the synthesizer that I always wanted as a kid, all the software and sequencer and everything is now on a program on my PC. I compose my own music. I actually did some for my series, Tales from the Dream Nebula. One character for sure jumped out of the woodwork and said, "You're going to do a theme for me." And said, "Okay, yes, dear." And I got some other songs that came out for it, but I also do stuff. I liken my music composition style to somewhere between Tangerine Dream, John Carpenter, and Jan Hammer. If you recognize those 3 names, you're doing really well.
Yeah, that was like the Axel Foley theme, wasn't it?
No, that would have been Harold Faltermeyer. Jan Hammer did Miami Vice. That's his big claim to fame.
Okay.
Yep. And John Carpenter, well, he composes for most of his films. So
let's see.
And Tangerine Dream is old school electronica. Oh, the Nordic Shield was made by my wife. She's the crafty one, though she does write as well. And this is just this is the pile of stuff, pretty much. I got books that go all the way back to reprints of classic railroad pulp.
Oh my God.
Yeah, classic railroad pulp. Oh, hey, what do you know? My Liberty Con badge is still hanging out there just for reasons unknown. Hey, and it's sticking to my copy of Mark Wandry's Cartwright Cavaliers, the first in his Four Horsemen universe.
And that's what's making the page sticky? Yeah, play with it.
I will tell you right now, if you are able to get to LibertyCon as a writing conference, it is fantastic. The people there are awesome. I highly recommend visiting that in Chattanooga. Yeah, yep, Railroad Pulp. I did. I've got like 5 books of it on the bookshelves over there. Oh, anyway, the Viking Shield. We were selling these at Ren fairs.
I have to ask you about that. What is that silver disc thing in the middle?
Well, let's put it this way: when you're kind of make do and you can't customize iron stuff, you go to Walmart sometimes for supplies. And this was one of the first prototypes that we did. And we discovered that little tiny dog food bowl dishes worked so well for it.
I thought it was something like that. And the reason I bring it up, this is a dumb story.
Yeah.
So back in the day, I will say early to mid 80s, our cousin lived next door to us, right? And me and my friend are outside and we're looking over there and we're going, when did he get a hood scoop on his car? Right? And we're looking at it going, oh, that's that. So what he'd done is he'd taken a paint roller tray and painted it the same color as his car and glued it up. From a distance, it looked like a hood scoop. But when you get up on it, it's like, dude, really, and that's kind of what that made me think of is I said, that's something that's a jury rigged thing, whatever it is.
Well, but I finally realized that some of the vents on the side of Buicks were just appliques. I kind of said, okay, even professional car companies are doing this. So if somebody decides to redneck engineer something like that, more props to them as far as I'm concerned.
Well, we still make fun of them about that 40 years later. So.
But the last point I'll make on this is she made this because we were making shields from my fantasy series, Akinawazi Saga, and this was for the Ragnarites, or basically my paladins of the setting. The behind it there, that's a harpoon that she made too, replica, because we had swords.
See that. We can't see
so this right here, I got to do this careful because it's gonna. Nope, I can't get it down for the head. It's 7 feet tall.
All right, fair enough.
It's the last one of them, but yeah, this was the Ragnarite shield from Akinawazi, and it was a fun thing to do, but it made setting up for cons a living hell. Same goes for the harpoons. Let's see. Somebody said something else. That's my Hitchhiking Ghosts right there, which goes with the shirt that I got. I got a baseball jersey for Christmas of the Haunted Mansion Hitchhiking Ghosts, my favorite ride out at Disney World.
Nice.
So, yes, as you can see, I'm all over the place.
Well, as are we. And now that you've been here for 15 minutes, I think it's safe to say that you write books.
I've dabbled.
Yeah. All right.
Yep. And I dabbled in it. And by the way, this is to loop everything back in. The reason I started writing novels is that I kind of got sick of running games with an audience of only 6. And I said, these are some really good stories. I'd love to basically share them with a lot more people. So I had, during a D&D game, an idea. My character that I introduced to one of the last long-running campaigns, or at least not this one, but the previous long-running campaign that I was ever in for D&D, I created a monk who specialized in the harpoon. And the GM's like, well, we don't really have monks in this setting, but lots of stuff pop out of the mist. I'm like, ooh, how very Viking. So I introduced my character to the group, and during the introduction, I was like, there's something there. I don't know why, but the backstory I kind of gave the character, beg your pardon, suddenly became this nugget of the world that became Akinawazi Saga. So, and the world's name was Akinawazi. So,
and in case anybody's wondering here real quick, if you want to see the word Akinawazi Saga, so you can figure out what it is he's saying.
So, So, yeah,
Deborah,
the title.
We have to say hi to Deborah, first of all, because if it's your first time here,
Deborah.
Thanks for joining. And please don't forget to hit like and subscribe, even if you never come back, because we're just shallow like that. We don't care. So
and
we
also,
appreciate that.
this is clean. My comic book stack still right here. I used to collect heavily in the late 90s. So, but yes, the title has several funny things about it. I'm not done looking. It's like, where's Waldo? You can't see the TARDIS dangling above my head either. Because of course.
Yeah, right. So what's a Kinawazi?
A Kinawazi is a corruption of an old of the Ojibwe language. It is a phrase that I wrote a very North American fantasy. So I took a lot of stuff out of Native American myth, and I decided to not. I didn't want to insult any tribe and somebody go, hey, that's insulting to our tribe. So I basically said, nope, I'm mashing up all the woodland Indian tribes and I'm taking a little bit from here and that. And so it's a mishmash. So nobody can sit there and say I'm picking on them. But I chose the Ojibwe language and the Oneida languages as sort of my basis for them. So fictional tribe and everything like that. And a Kinawazi is sort of a corruption of the Ojibwe phrase, the land of the seven freshwater seas. Because how this okay, sorry, I got to sort of carefully untangle this to be able to explain
Sure.
it.
Yeah,
The whole reason that I kind of wrote this is that at the time I did not know that there were any fantasy books out there anymore that would not conflict with my Christian faith. So I said, well, I could try to write Christian, a Christian fantasy. And I said, well, I don't want to do like C.S. Lewis and make an allegory of God or, Jesus or anything like that. So I wanted to have literal Christianity in there, but I still want to have the D&D vibe. You can have your fireballs and things like that. You've got the big monsters. So how do you mesh all that together? And when I say it took me 13 years to finally figure out how to put this together, I'm not kidding, because it took me about 10 years to square that circle. And the solution to how do you have real Christianity as we know it in history, and how do you put that in a fantasy setting like that? And I said, well, before the discovery of North America, everything to the west on the map was here there be monsters. And so I said, fine, I'm going to make a fantasy version of North America. And in this place, the veil between heaven and hell is very thin. Demons and angels are slugging it out there. And the supernatural becomes profoundly theatrical. So when it's discovered by the Vikings, they, in this alternate version, they discover and settle in the Great Lakes region. And because they come over through the top of what we would call Hudson Bay. They call it the Casina Sea, which as a whole in-story thing. But anyway, that's sort of how this world started coming together, is here there be monsters. So over here is the fantasy version of North America. God is very active in this area. The angels and demons are duking it out. And now mankind is caught in the middle. So going into any more of that, it's sort of like dragging out the whole, backstory on what's going on. And I don't want to sit there and babble for hours at you. Trust me, it happened. But
we
now
here's after a while,
But anyway, the title is also so you have all that. I did it in the Icelandic manner, a Kinawazi saga. So saga at the end, the story of the land of the seven freshwater seas, and it's also a linguistic joke because there is no Z sound in Old Norse or even modern Norse languages. So the Z in there also implies subtly that this is a culture in isolation, separated from its roots. And when I first proposed this title, one of my friends like, why do you want to do that? Nobody's going to look for that. I was like, yeah, but sooner or later they will. If it takes off, people will look for this name and they'll find it sooner or later, or they'll at least know what to ask for. And I said, besides, look at Terry Brooks, and he wrote Shannara. or as I said, Shannara. So, and here's the
Is
funny
that
story.
not how you pronounce it?
Well, Shannara is how I pronounced it. And he's like, well, fine, but Shannara is easier to spell. I said, whatever. Fast forward after I've published the first book, and I go to my first Realm Makers conference where Terry Brooks is the guest of honor. And and part of the package I bought was you get to have lunch or your meals with the faculty. And so I ended up sitting right next to Terry Brooks and having lunch with him and his wife, and a whole table full of editors from, I think Tor had somebody there, Tinsdale Press, and some other people. And so I told them about this, and I said, because of you, I decided to go ahead with this and name my book Akinawazi Saga, because people could figure out could figure out how to pronounce Shannara sooner or later without small pause, and then he goes, it's actually pronounced Shannara.
No, I don't care what he says. I don't care how he pronounces it. It's Shannara.
I go by
my head. Be Shannara.
Yep, you got your head canon. I took it from the author himself. So the whole table went dead silent, and then I just bust out laughing. It was a great moment. So that's my Terry Brooks story as it associates with my first writers conference and my new published series.
So this was your first book?
Yes. This has sort of become a prequel.
It came out when?
I believe I published the first publishing was in 2017, but then I had to do a re-release in 2019 with the release of the second book because I had to change up the style of how I was writing. Previously, I stuck with using Old Norse. I insert a lot of Old Norse, so there's a full-on glossary in the back. If it works for Richard Adams and like Watership Down, I can go ahead and do that. Tolkien wins with writing a whole book practically about it called the Silmarillion. So I put a glossary in the back for pronunciation, but I use too many uses of Old Norse for basic jobs. It was great for immersion, but it was too hard for most readers. Yeah. So I redid it and re-released in 2019 with The Inheritance Thieves, which is the first of a trilogy story arc that started because my aunt yelled at me.
Okay. So this is book 2, which is actually probably book 1. Yeah.
Of a trilogy. Yes.
Okay. Then this is book 3, which is actually book 2.
Right.
So where's book 3?
Book 3 is in production. It has been stalled because it's fighting me and other projects got in the way, so it's been slightly delayed. I'm getting yelled at.
Book 1 came out in 2017.
Yes.
This book here, Into the High Places, came out when?
2020.
So you are now on 6 years between book 2 and book 3.
Yeah, unfortunately. A whole series shoved itself in between and said, you will write me now.
Let's go to that real quick.
Yes.
And this is a whole different vibe.
Literally happened while sitting on my floor folding laundry and watching Flash Gordon. That was the spark, and it would not let go of my brain.
And so what's this one then?
I call this my pulp punk. It was sort of like, so basically I'm sitting there watching Flash Gordon and I go, I miss Ming the Merciless. I mean, that character is just awesome. You don't really see that much anymore out there. The theatrically dangerous, but still lovably incompetent at the right time kind of character. You know, it just, the whole pulp vibe was just eating at me. And so I said, I would love to see somebody do something with this. And I said, hey, you're somebody. You've written 3 books. Why don't you take your hand at it? So I started noodling with the idea of my own Ming the Merciless. And I came up with Zhao the Eternal. Hail Zhao. Got my Imperial salute. And he, of course, and if you're going to have a good villain, you also have to have your good hero. So I sat there mulling around what kind of things are mashing together in my head, because the idea was struck. I said, I want to try and figure out, is there a harder, not hard completely, way to do the production design from Flash Gordon 1980. And it took me all of, I think, about 3 hours to go, holy crap, there actually is a way. And I started then with the idea, and it started expanding. And then the idea that really made my Zhao the Eternal, the all-seeing eye, become this, I got to write this kind of thing, and I got to try and get it out. But I want to do it like a television show. So the first 2 books of the series are kind of like a pilot episode, and then everything else is trying to be a standalone. It's advancing the plot, but everything is going to try to be like, if you picked up another book of Mac Bolan or The Destroyer, you can jump right in, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. There's 300-400 books before and 500 more to come, you know? So I kind of went with that. And the mashup that came and kind of formed with the storyline is Flash Gordon, of course, meets Smokey and the Bandit, meets The Matrix, meets Tailspin from Disney. And all these things kind of created the Dream Nebula. And it just, like I said, it just took over the brain and exploded.
I think it's worth it just for the Smokey and the Bandit reference.
Yeah, I said, well, I wanted an everyman hero. You know, Flash Gordon, if you think about it, he was a bit of a dilettante. Tom from Great Gatsby, if you think about it, the kind of the dirtbag married to Daisy with tons of old money. He was the athlete, the golden child of a celebrated scientist. And I said, I want an everyman. And who was everyman? I thought at first it was going to be Bandit Darville and a variation. And as I kept doing it, he turned into Jerry Reed in a way. So I got the Snowman instead. And he has his partner who, Billy Joe Bob, is his loadmaster, who is a sentient robot. And he basically, he dabbled with personality mods, and he kind of got one that he loved, and that was just sort of a Southern fried good old boy. And so he's kind of the "aw shucks, ma'am" kind of guy, but he's a robot.
You have a hillbilly robot.
Yes, I do.
Awesome.
Nice.
And
So I just want to tell you that I feel your pain about series taking over your life. So I wrote 4 books in a fantasy series, and then this came. This I did not know even did not exist until April of last year, and I published that, and now I've published book 2 in the series because it's taken over my life. It's been 2+ years now since I wrote a fantasy book, and it's going to be 3 years before I actually get back to it, if I can get back to it. But
yeah, like last year, I was consumed with writing short stories. I think I've put out a full novel's worth of stuff, of different short stories, but only 2 of them got picked up. So that's sort of what last year went. And, it sort of came about because I started meeting a lot of people in, a lot of other writers, and a lot of people are kind of in this orbit of doing anthology. Short stories have, in a certain respect, come back, but they're also really good training grounds for, well, I don't really have any idea. I'm not working on anything big. Let's see what I can punch out. And
anthology
make yourself maybe.
Like it would be a tremendous labor to make that happen. Not for the individual writer, but
I do plan to take a lot of these after I have rights revert, and I'm going to probably put out a collection and push that out too. So
yeah, cool.
Yeah.
I mean, those stories are not gone; they're just on hold. You can get a couple of them, and I don't want to release them for free because after an experience I did with a temporarily free, you can find my book with viruses on pirate sites all over the world. At least the first one I did, because I fell into that. Just make it temporarily free. Oh yeah. Lots of scammers will download it and they'll resell it. So I am not a fan of the make it free unless you're going to make it from free.
So this sci-fi series, is it like a trilogy as well?
It is a episodic series The first 3 books are out. Like I said, the first 2 are kind of like the pilot episode, and then I have what I call my monster episode.
That would be this one.
That would be the second book. So that's the ending of the sort of cliffhanger giant pilot episode. It can be read alone, but it helps if you have the first book to go along with it. And then the third book, The Waking Nightmares, is the first complete true standalone. And that is in the middle is Winston Harper. He's my Jerry Reed snowman kind of character. Billy Joe Bob is behind him there. And then that's Holly, who has become sort of the bane of poor Winston's life in certain regards. She is what I call my fetish femme fatale gun bunny.
Okay.
I said, I am leaning into the noir tropes and just loving on them.
So where'd you get your covers done?
A artist by the name of Neutron Boar redid all my Dream Nebula covers, and I found him basically through by guess and by gosh connections from other artists, other writers, and he got recommended to me, and he's out of Ireland, and he does a great job. The Akinawazi covers, the artist is out of Serbia, I think Sarajevo. I found him on 99 Designs called Paganus. And my major instruction to him was I wanted to look like old first edition D&D books. And he said, not a problem. That's Gun Bunny, not Gun Runner.
Don't give EL ideas. He's already writing a short story about this now.
I was going to say, yeah, he's got his computer out as we talk. He's probably 500 words in.
I will. Oh, wow. I wish I could be that productive like that. I was going to say, I do plan on making Dream Nebula into an RPG at some point. I'm having fitful starts here and there. GURPS was one attempt to start creating it, but I'd have to have a little talk with Steve Jackson if I was allowed to actually do that.
How does one go about creating an RPG? How does one go about creating an RPG? First,
you have a stroke. Then you decide to take out a complicated task.
See what that would help.
Yeah. Basically, it sounds easier than making homebrew rules is easier. And than it is to kind of go from scratch. You have to pick up, you kind of have to pick and choose what you want to put in. The good news is for GURPS, I can literally just go through the book and say, all right, these are the core books that I would consider to use. And then I would have to go through, and I've actually done this once for Heroes Unlimited for Palladium's Rifts. Sorry. Hi, Snow. The lovely little lady from Texas.
She is always welcome on our channel. She's been here as a guest before.
Oh, good. So you know RH. Okay.
Yes.
That's good to hear. She's a sweetheart and a half. But yeah, then comes the fun part of compiling maps, equipment lists, personality profiles of characters, and then suggestions for the hook build conclusion, little micro ideas for adventures in this, and you got to put it all together. The one company I thought that did that kind of the best out of all of them were old FASA Shadowrun modules. Those things were absolutely brilliant in the quality of putting together the parts for you to play an adventure. But I'm still a sucker when it comes to the books of Palladium and how they handle a lot of their stuff. They just Kevin Simbeta did a really good job with that. And if it wasn't for their submission contract, I would have probably tried to make that into Dream Nebula bait. And I do also plan on making Dream Nebula into a shared universe for other writers to participate in. It's just not many people know about it yet, so not many takers on that front.
Well, you've heard it here first then.
So
it sounds like a lot of work. to make a game. That just seems like you would never get any writing done at all. Well, you would get writing done, but not for a book for your game. So
exactly. And that's sort of what I learned with writing short stories for anthologies. It doesn't look like I've been busy at all, but yet behind the scene, I've written close to 100,000 words last year for those books, or those stories, and they'll be out sooner or later. I'll get them out.
So what takes up the rest of your day, Mike?
Well, working on that, music at times. I've also self-trained. I'm a self-trained graphic artist from all the way back in 1999. I started playing with Photoshop and moved forward on my own ever since. So I also do developmental edit and writers coaching. I basically do brain learns how to brain again. I can assemble books, layout, everything like that. I have self-trained on AI art. Because when I did that because I didn't have a cover artist for Dream Nebula about 3 years ago. And so I discovered, and that was just when AI art suddenly, you had the whole thing with the Colorado State Fair with it winning the contest, and all at that point I was like, okay, I saw the future on what was coming, and I started teaching myself how to do it and figuring out, all right, is this the threat that's going to wipe out everything I wanted to do with my life? And instead went, no, this is a tool. It may have some sketchy ethics on how the models were created, and that's going to be its own problem. But for now, this is a tool. And now, thanks to Adobe integrating pretty much everything, AI and teaming up with Invoke AI, they are just, you're not getting away from it. So at least in the art, what's going to be fun is it's going to make human-made art a premium. And the people that can do that are going to, A, be better at using those tools when they're handed to them, if they choose to use them, or B, it's going to make their art done by hand so much more valuable because it wasn't assisted. So,
well, that's one way to look at it. That's entirely possible. That's probably a discussion I don't know that we want to get into that. It's just so fraught with, all kinds of pitfalls, really. It could. I think what it will do, if you're right, in that it will make human produced unaided art more valuable. What it will do, though, it will take whatever market there is right now for people who just aren't really that good. It will remove them from that marketplace. It will de-incentivize them to get better. So there will be fewer people who do it, right? So I don't know. I kind of think that's a loss for everybody if there are fewer people doing it.
In part, I can see that. My gut is more of what happened in graphic design when Quark Express showed up and the ability to do desktop publishing. So I partnered up with a guy who trained, or who was trained to be a graphic artist back in the 60s. And he was using tape, glue, paper, razors until the mid or late 80s, and then desktop publishing hit. And let's face it, all those artisans, think of what they were either get in with computers because they can do everything that you're doing cleaner, faster, more efficiently. And they either upgraded or they stayed with the old ways. And yes, there are probably still a few people out there that do it, but they're almost there. It's one of those cases where the buggy whip.
Let me tell you the story of my people.
Are you one?
So I was a military journalist, and we had to learn how to design newspapers and things.
Very cool, and Joker.
It was all in the pre-desktop publishing days. So a whiz wheel to, figure out proportions for sizing photographs and pica poles and all that kind of nonsense, and page layouts and all that BS. And one day, I was stationed overseas, and we had a box in the corner, which the person who I replaced never did anything with. And my boss came up to me and said, "I want you to take that computer out of the box, set it up. We are doing the newspaper with desktop publishing next week." It's like, yeah, but they went to training for this. I have no idea what this is. He says, "Well, here's a book." A big thick book.
Here's Quark Express 1 for dummies.
Yeah, the longest single work day I've ever spent. I got to work one morning at 7. And I did not leave until the next day at like 3 or 4 in the afternoon.
That sounds like a name yet.
Just sitting there going, what the hell? The scanner would take like 20 minutes to scan a photo. It was crazy, but so much better.
In college.
So much better than the other way. So
but there was also a lot of loss of skill and talent on the other end of it because it became irrelevant, or there was nobody left that needed it done that way. On the other hand, you look at CAD CAM. When CAD came out, computer assisted drafting, what it did to everything that had to do with engineering, design of parts.
But I don't know. There's still I think there's still a use for some of that stuff, right? Because if we've all been without satellite links for a couple of hours, and everything stops, right?
Yeah.
What happens if all of that stuff shuts down for more than a couple of hours, like say a week, right? And you're forced to, I don't know, use paper.
I'm golden for entertainment.
Yeah.
You're good. Hey, you strike me as a guy who has opinions, Mike.
Maybe.
Mike has a question for you, Mike.
Is this my question?
It's your question.
Okay. So, Mike, I want you to picture yourself. You're in the main drag going down Lewisburg, West Virginia.
I think you might get what you want out of this.
And you are in a saddle. Now, this saddle can either be on a T-Rex or a Griffin. Which one do you choose and why?
Well, since I can't mount an animal because I have a shattered elbow, I'd be kind of going, which can pull the chariot?
Let's just say this is a world where your elbow is okay.
Okay, in that case...
and you are athletic like a 20-year-old version of yourself.
Heck, I'd run it. No. I'd go with the Griffin because...
That's it, everyone. We're done here.
I don't care for dinosaurs. I honestly don't. And Griffins are only not taken nominally.
I'm sorry. I read the room wrong.
Yeah, sorry. The Griffin is... the Griffin is... mildly superior to a dinosaur.
So don't worry. At least 90% of our guests get this question wrong. You're just one of the 90%.
Hooray! I'm with the rest of everybody. It's not
okay. A couple other real quick questions for you. Star Trek or Star Wars?
Neither. I would probably go with Farscape or Battlestar Galactica.
Nice. You redeemed yourself.
Answer.
Yeah,
and Battlestar Galactica.
Either one for Battlestar Galactica. Unfortunately, Star Wars killed my love over the last 10 years, and Star Trek, I really have stopped paying attention about like 2 seasons before the end of Voyager. I mean, it's like they forgot who they were. Both franchises. And don't get me started on a travesty that's Doctor Who, because otherwise I would have said that.
Dare I ask him?
I am a
Star Trek captain is.
Huh?
So dare I ask you who your least favorite Star Trek captain is? It'd
be a list. I'm sorry. I like original series. I like The Next Generation. I didn't really care for Deep Space Nine, and Voyager was interesting, but it just sort of petered out and for my attention after a while.
Yeah.
At least Farscape had the decency to not go on too long, but it needed one more season just to finish it.
It really did.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And BSG, I love the original 1979 version for it. Let's face it, Glenn A. Larson was on a roll at that time. I preferred season 1 of Buck Rogers to it. Barely. And that's partially to do with Aaron Gray.
It was a time in life, you know.
Yes, I didn't care that I was like 8 or 9 years old. You just stared at the screen and nodded your head.
It's probably a little too much information for us. But
TMI.
there you go.
Well,
That's all right.
honestly. Then again, Lauren Green is like the grandfather you always wanted. So
I just kept seeing him try to sell Alpo during it. It was weird. If you're
forgot
old
about
enough,
those.
you know what we're talking about.
yes, I never forgot about those.
All right.
So what else? What other question can I get wrong?
Sure. Who's the hero of Harry Potter?
If it isn't the eponymous character, I have no clue because I've never read or watched.
Really?
Oh, wow.
Nope, I've refused. The same way I refused to watch Game of Thrones.
Well, that's just a good choice there. That was wasted time.
I do not like grimdark because I can't stand lack of hope.
Well,
And
Harry
also,
Potter's not grimdark; it's more dumbdark.
it
I like
doesn't
Harry Potter.
it doesn't really exist for me.
Okay.
I came into it too late for it to impact. When did the first book come out? Somewhere in the mid 90s. I'm already out of college. That is not aimed at me anymore.
I was already married, and we were buying 2 copies of each book so we could both read them at the same time.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I was also more in sci-fi at that time.
So you're the one who hasn't read it. Okay, that's good to know. We found you.
My wife hasn't either.
2 of you in the same place.
Yeah. And none of our in-laws.
How about that? That's weird. Okay. I've got nothing now, Mike.
Oh, you have the new question for this year that we keep forgetting to ask about Tom Bombadil.
Oh yeah. Yeah, okay.
Like the elven poetry, I skipped those chapters.
Well, that kind of answers the question then.
Oh, see, you've redeemed yourself a little bit. I mean, still should have said T-Rex.
The question was,
Yes, sorry.
does the lack of Tom Bombadil in the movie make it better or worse?
Well, I mean, I can look at it from an analytical point of view. I can at least do that. That's kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't think I could. I mean, what purpose did really Tom Bombadil serve in the book?
Tolkien needed a better editor. That's what we've learned from this.
No. We do not need something harsher than Lester Del Rey.
Okay.
I feel like I hurt your feelings, Ro.
No. I have to be on the losing side of one of these questions, and I guess it's going to be this one. So
Okay.
I kind of dig Tom Bombadil.
It's sort of like when, for me, Tom Bombadil and the Elvish poetry, it's sort of like,
yeah, the Elvish poetry we can do without.
yeah, exactly. That felt like he wandered off into a little fan space in his own creation, and
He was
said,
doing that
I
for him.
love this, and there are people that absolutely love it, and it's perfect for them. I am poetry deaf for the most part. There's a very few poems that I even get, and I'm talking, in general. It just I don't get it. My brain doesn't flow that way. Oh, Han shot first every time.
Yeah, that's not even up for debate, really.
Yeah, no. Anybody that says the other way around needs to be taken out back with George and slapped around for a little while.
All right.
George needs
Mike,
to fix
Mike,
that.
I would suggest the BD, but I don't know that we have time for that.
Yeah, I don't think we do.
Yeah, I think Mike would take us on this wandering thing for the next 30 or 40 minutes.
Probably.
I'm game.
When your next book comes out, we'll have you back, and we'll schedule some time in there for the Bald Dome.
Oh, I can tell you at least that the short story is leading into a third series that has lifted its head. This is supposed to be a standalone book, but we'll see if a publisher is interested in it. It's about 40% done right now, and I'm its current name, and it's probably going to stick unless somebody says otherwise, is Mech Family Robinson.
So wait a minute. Are you going to finish either of these other two series first?
It's all getting trickled together. I literally have them kind of writing at the same time. I have this one at about 40%. I have the book 4 of Dream Nebula at about 35%. I have Kinawazi 4 at about 40%, and they're slowly trickling down now that I've cleared this whole chunk of short stories. Once I'm done in the next couple days with this one, I'm not going for any short stories. It's strictly after these.
Sebastian, there's hope for you, man.
Yeah, there's I'm not going to George R. Martin this thing.
Now, I think you're going to become Sebastian's spirit animal, though.
I do not know that reference.
Sebastian's in the comments. He has started, I think, 70 some odd different books now.
He's got a ton of books he's started, but not actually finished any and published any.
Okay. Well, I got 6 of them published so far, and we will have more coming soon. So
36.
36.
That's
Keep hammering away, man.
All right. So the book coming out in this summer is what series?
Well, there's no published date, but it would be the book I'm working on and hope to get done by summer at the very latest would be Mech Family Robinson. And that is sort of like the movie Swiss Family Robinson mashed up with Battletech and a few other things sticking its head, including a weird foray into what feels like a Sound of Music vibe, but with scarier stuff out of Pitch Black.
A Sound of Music reference isn't something I thought we were going to be getting out of this.
Yeah, that was not on my bingo card.
I have a brain that is a clogged dryer lint filter, and it just it makes lots of random connections that suddenly go, hey, that's a cool idea.
So do you get out to Comic-Cons and stuff much selling books?
We this year we've cut back, but we go to Big Lick Comic-Con. It's nice and close. I love JD and the guys at Big Lick Comics. They do a great job with that.
Which one? Roanoke?
Yeah, Roanoke. Okay. Big Lick. That's the only one we can get to currently. The price for us to go down to North Carolina is a little steep, and the DC area, the more distance I keep between me and DC is leads to great comfort in my life.
There's I forget the guy name who runs it, but there's one in Boone, North Carolina. Mm-hmm. So it's a really small one, right? It's like one day. Mm-hmm. It's pretty small, but they treat you really well, and they get really good walkthrough all day. There's like no, it's just like constant for the 6 hours or 8 hours or whatever it is, and the table price you can't beat. So,
okay, if you could send me a link to their site, that would be great. We'll take a look into it and see if we can add it to the list.
I can do that. Boom.
So Mike, while he's looking that up, I'll tell you, I did the Big Lick Greensboro last year. It was the first year, and not a lot of people knew about it. I mean, I think it will be a very good show, but give it a couple years, because it was pretty much a disappointment the first year, which, I mean, you kind of expect it's not going to be roaring,
right.
But I mean, they were crazy because afterwards they said, hey, we're going to double the price. Who wants to sign up now? And everyone I talked to is like, I'm really disappointed in sales, and now they're doubling the price. So I was like, okay.
Yep.
So nobody had sales, so they doubled the price of the tables?
Yes.
Yeah, that's not going to go. The other thing that we go to pretty consistently because of my fantasy series, we go to the West Virginia Renaissance Festival for 3 weeks out of June. Believe it or not, those are good for authors that have something that's kind of themed that way and are willing to dress up and be outside. We've had actually very good luck with that. We've gone to the West Virginia Highland Games and Celtic Festival 1 year. We've done we did Viking Con up in Maryland, and we've also, because Viking theme, thank you for the link. Let's see. We've done the Pikeville Toy Con, Toy and Comic Show. Toys and comic shows don't seem to work out so well for us because people are there mostly for the collectibles. I'm not bashing on them. It's just that they're not necessarily looking for. Yeah, it's sort of you got to know the audience kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, then we go to LibertyCon. We're trying to make that an annual thing, but that is more as a writers conference than anything else, where I get to go and network with a lot of other authors and things like that. And there are a lot of fans there. It's just that vending is not the focus at that location so much. We've done Based Con last year, and it was a lot of fun, and I definitely want to go back and support that. We're seeing if we can pull that off this year still. But yeah, we're always on the lookout for stuff. It's just, it comes down to affordability and whether or not we think we can make back the money and be able to go there. And unfortunately, a lot of them right now, since 2022, it's been more and more difficult unless you get really good placement and just the mood of the crowd is right. I mean, we've done even farmers markets. Those are kind of fun in a way, but they're not there to read.
Right.
Every place is hit or miss. It depends on the day, depends on the crowd. But if you like Mike's writing, he is available. Sounds like all over the place. So look up your nearest con or Ren Fair or what have you, and go to his website. And I'm sure you probably put down where you're going to be at your website.
It needs an update for what we have coming up here, but yeah. There will be updates for those. Otherwise, you can buy direct from the printer, where at least for the fantasy series, we do have paperbacks and hardcovers. And yep, so those I have in hardcovers if you like that kind of stuff. Otherwise, you can also get the paperbacks for Dream Nebula series. Now, just so you can see, the Dream Nebula books are small. They are very small.
Keep that up there.
Yep. So they're only 4x6. I made a mistake when I wanted to have them pocketbook size. I put in 4x6 instead of 4x7. But everybody has loved this size. I call them my one night reads. Because they do read fairly fast. They are short novels. If you read fast, you should be able to get through it in one night. So it's
nice.
Oh. That's a selling point. Yeah, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. I sell those as being the nice light potato chip kind of read, and the Akinawazi Saga is like the dark chocolate, sink your teeth in to really think about stuff, because it deals with a lot of heavy subjects that are mixed in with all the fantasy. So
well, cool. All right. Well, we have a lot of people watching on X right now, or they just haven't, scrolled. So thank you very much. And if you get a chance, please jump over to our YouTube channel and hit the like button and let Mr. Boncher here know how much you appreciate his time, and hit the subscribe button so Mike and I feel good about ourselves. Because Mike and I, he has no hair and I'm getting there. So we need all the reason we can.
Are we allowed to feel good about ourselves?
Yes.
Not yet.
Okay. Because, I went to Catholic school, so tell me feel good about myself is just, I don't know how to do that.
It's like I just feel like I'm smacked with a ruler.
Yeah, exactly.
I just live with free-floating anxiety and worry. It's my superpower.
Right. A little guilt that you run into every now and then. All right. Mike, thank you very much. Mike, thank you very much.
Ro, thank you very much.
Get a couple of Rosaires on this show and change things up a little bit. And we are back tomorrow. Mike is not here, but I will be here for random writing prompts. If you want to join us at 7, half an hour of quiet time we'll spin the wheel for a genre and do a little writing. And then we are back Thursday again, also sans Mike, as he is heading off to the wilderness of Richmond for a con, Galaxy Con, if you're in the area this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And we are here
Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Okay, or that. Thursday, do you know who we have on Thursday, or is it going to be a surprise?
Erica McCorkle.
Okay, and that is at 7?
No, that is at 8.
Oh, see how you are doing me at 8 o'clock like that on a Thursday night?
Well, I mean, I don't have to do it, so that's fine.
Yeah, I see how you are. All right, 8 p.m. with Erica McCorkle. All right, I just like saying that name. That's going to be fun. McCorkle. It's just a fun name to say. All right. So thank you all very much. Thank you, Mike and Mike,
thank
and
you.
everybody else. Appreciate your time, and hopefully we'll see you tomorrow and or Thursday.
Black
Okay. Let's wave awkwardly till